club. Welcome to the book club. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I appreciate you coming on board and being able to talk about God, the universe, infinity, and the law of one. Just so you know, you're probably wondering, why are you even doing this? Why are you willing to do this? Because I can think of no better way to spend my time. And it's really our joy and passion to discuss this, learn about it. And that comes from a childhood where I was very confused. A Muslim dad, a Christian mom. I was a very confused little kid. I had questions that no one could answer. Okay, big questions about life. I wanted to understand death. I wanted to understand, who am I? Why am I here in the first place? And well, none of these pastors, preachers, etc., could answer these questions. So I had to keep asking, and no one had answers. Why am I here on this earth? Is there a God? Like, who is God? Is God a man or a woman? Is there even a God? Why do I exist? Why am I here? What's my purpose? How big is this universe? Is this my first or my last life ever? And if so, then what did I do to be so damn short? Like, what did I deserve to do to be so short in this lifetime? Can someone explain that for me? If this is my first and only last life, then what am I going to do with that? Well, this book answered all of these questions and so much more. And if you're wondering, Yusuf, then why are you short? Well, later on, you're going to learn all about reincarnation and past lives, future lives, plans, things that we put in place for our best, highest expression of the creator. And for me, I realized that I'm short in this lifetime because I wanted to learn humility. That's something very important to me. But anyways, I digress. So what's our mission here for Jasmine and I with this book club? Well, my personal mission is to serve as a catalyst to awakening as many people as possible, humans as possible, to realize the law of one within. And what that means is that you realize deep within your core center, somewhere deep, you have this strong faith and trust and this deep sense that you are one with everything, that you are God in living human form, that you are the Christ, the Brahman, etc. That's what I want for you. And if anything I say today or tomorrow or in these sessions together from Ra, or maybe something someone else says, well, I hope that one of us can just awaken one of you, something bigger, something deeper that you knew all this time. And if we can do that with these slides and these presentations and these sessions and these talks, then I've served my mission. Okay. So, um, what are we going to get out of this? Well, we're here to learn and connect. Okay. So we're going to show you a few different passages of the text. We're going to go through it together and then we're going to talk about it. We're going to connect together. We're going to also disagree on some things and challenge some things, and I invite that. I just want to have an open, honest conversation about all of this stuff. Okay. So, what's our deadline here? Well, if you join this book club specifically, then you're here to read this book and discuss it with us. Now, maybe you don't want to read it, and that's fine. You can just come on board and just join the calls. But if you don't go through the book with us, excuse me. Testing, testing. Yeah. How do I sound now? Jasmine was saying I was sounding a little choppy. Sorry, I'm not looking at the text. Yeah, slightly choppy. Yeah, what if there's an echo? There's a little echo. What if I take off my headphones? All right, we're just trying this here. Technical difficulties. See, even the one infinite creator sometimes has blunders, right? All right, I'm gonna take these off and you let me know how I sound. Am I better? Yeah? Oh, so I'm better without headphones.
Okay. So where was I? Oh yeah, we're talking about the Law of One book club, of course. And so what's our deadline for this? Well, if you join this, maybe you don't want to read the book. That's fine. You can just show up. But if you don't read the book, then you're not going to have as much. You're not going to. The whole point of this is that you share your perspective. You share your discernments, your reflections, your contemplations, your stories, and yourself, your opinions, your perspectives on this. That's how we learn. We hear it in a different way. So if you haven't read the book, before we come into this, and I'm going to talk about what that kind of timeline looks like, because that's what's next is how. Well, you're going to choose at least one way that we're going to share right here. Okay. What is that? That means reading or listening. First, if you're going to read it, you're going to do 1+ sessions per day. Okay. You're going to read at least one session a day. And I'd recommend doing that first thing in the morning before social media. Yes. I know who loves social media. Oh yeah. Come on. No, you don't check your phone first thing in the morning. Come on. Some of you do. Come on. Let's just be honest here. We always need transparency and honesty. Most humans, when they wake up, they check their phone. But instead, what I want you to do is read the Law of One. You're in a different brainwave state, and you're more receptive to what's being delivered first thing in the morning. Okay, so that's what I'd recommend. But you can read it whenever you want, or listen to one session a day while you're exercising, driving, or doing chores. Raise your hand if you have life to do sometimes. Anyone have life to do? Okay. Well, chores, right? Yeah. We all do. So I get it. Play it while you're doing those chores. So you're gonna skip over some things are gonna go like, what was that? Or maybe you won't hear it, but you're gonna get exactly what you need. I've listened to it now, and I didn't really, you can't, we were driving while we were listening to this at first, and I'll talk more about the details, but you don't get everything the first time. You only get what you need, really. So go through it. Don't worry about catching everything. But if something stands out to you, then please highlight it, share it in the chat, ask, hey, I didn't understand what this means. Okay, that's fine. Then let's discuss it. Bring it to us. Let us know. Okay. All right. So here's what the Law of One, the LNL Research, they are the company that basically organizes the community and the information from the Law of One, and they have these certain requests of us. So if we're going to be involved in this book club together, then our number one thing that we want to do is be service to others oriented. And let's talk about what that means. Basically, you're going to learn that there's taking and keeping, or giving and receiving. There's caring for others and putting others first, or putting ourselves first at the detriment of others. So what we want to do is we want to always be service to all, is what Jaslyn likes to call it, service to all, in which we're giving more than we are taking and keeping. Okay? So being service to others means you are loving, compassionate, kind, understanding, caring. Can we all do that? Can we be that? Yeah? Okay, cool. I knew I could count on you. Please be available to talk to people about it. I mean, if you're going to post something, be available for contact so that we can chat with you about it. You can share, you can discuss, go beyond. We're going to go beyond just textual study in order to blend communal energies in care for one another. So that means we're not just going to have just a text. We're going to have supporting work from the Confederation sources, which we'll talk about later. We're going to position the Law of One or the Confederation philosophy generally at the center of our study, though we may incorporate other material. For example, is Marcus here? Is that you, Marcus? Is Marcus here? Yeah. Hey, you talked about Bashar, right? You mentioned, hey, can I pose? Absolutely, because what we want to do here is, like I said, I came from a Muslim dad and a Christian mom. I love hearing different perspectives. I love it. That's what I invite. I want everyone here to be able to get the same message from a different source. It doesn't matter because it's all the Law of One. Jasmine, she replied to that, hey, everything is the law of one. So I invite all perspectives. I invite all opinions. I invite everything that you want to share about this, that you feel relates to this, please let us know. But just remember, we want to be service to others oriented, and we wanted to keep it around the philosophy of the Confederation, what they share, which you're going to learn later is really about unity and oneness. So if it's more of a separation based philosophy of like God is out there, or the source is out there, well, that's the one thing where I wouldn't invite that into the space. Is that okay with you? Like fear, hate, all that stuff. Are you okay with me not sharing that kind of stuff? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. I like you. This is fun. And of course, be awesome and be humble. I think we can all do that. By the way, just because I'm going to be facilitating, just like at the retreat, what I want engagement. I want people here chatting, interacting, engaging, discussing, questioning, disagreeing. Please, if you disagree with something, that's a catalyst waiting to happen. Let's trigger someone. If someone gets triggered, good. That's what Aaron says. He said that to me the other day. He's like, someone gets triggered, good. All right, cool. That's what they needed. And I invite everyone to be the same way. Just share authentically, share openly, etc. So are you ready and committed? Does all that sound good to you? Can we get this book done in 6 months? We'd finish in December 31st of 2024. And now I love doing the whole let's go with the flow. What does spirit tell us to, and just kind of go with things based on the flow. But I like to have a deadline because it gives us the boundary in order to end the timeline so that we can really go in. So who's in? Who's going to do this? Who's going to actually read the book? You're going to listen to it. All right. You are? Like, really? Okay. All right. You just gave me a thumbs up and yes and all that stuff, but please type what word are we going to do? Oh, type I am in the chat, please. I am. With your own free will, of course. If you don't want to do that, then that's fine. And if you don't want to finish the book in 6 months, that's fine. We might not even be able to discuss every single painstaking passage in the book in great detail, but we'll get what we need in this 6 months. Okay, so we'll go deep on whatever we can. Sound good with you? Does that sound good? Yes. All right. Everyone says I am. Very sweet. All right. Is that so? I don't want to count it. I believe you. All right. So then let's get into it officially. And we're going to do that by first hearing this song, and then we're going to begin. All right. You know me, I love music. So I'm guessing you can't hear that, can you? So funny. I'm like, what? Why does everyone look like they're standing still? Yeah, so there's been a lot of technical difficulties here, ladies and gentlemen. We rehearsed and everything. Everything was perfect earlier. But see, Catalyst. So what do we do with, if you know Aaron, what do we do with Catalyst? We accept it. We love it, right? Exactly. All right, we're just gonna move on. There was no epic song. It was supposed to connect you to your heart and whatever, but it's fine. All right. You are muted. 1 second. Let me see if I can figure this out really quickly. Let me share video clip. All right. Present. All right. Can you see my screen, everyone? Oh, we're gonna edit the crap out of this one. Yes. Okay. Can you hear this? Anything? No. Okay. So unfortunately, well, I had some clips to show you throughout this presentation, but we might just have to skip those. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to make you wait any longer. So just so you know, you're probably wondering, Yusuf, you want to talk about this with us? Which books have you read? Well, I just want to show you how obsessed Jason and I are. We started teaching the Law of One, The Raw Contact. That was the first official book we listened to. And it was thanks to Jason's friend. It came about way earlier, but we decided way later to read it. And so we drove around the country during COVID. We didn't want to stay inside, so we just drove to Utah so we can stay in the mountains. And on the way, we listened to this book. We finished it, listening to it, and then we would read it at night, the text of this book. And then we were so mind blown by this material that we read the raw material. This was the original transcripts. So read that one, and then I listened to Wanderer's Handbook. It was amazing. It's really well written. And then Living the Law of One of my personal favorites by Carla Ruckart. You're going to learn about her. And then I read this, the Aaron Kuo dialogues. We'll talk more about who they are later. And my personal favorite book of all time is a concept guide. No, my second favorite book of all time. Oh my God, no, this is my favorite book, The Raw Material. But a concept guide is by far one of the best books I've ever read. And it helped me understand the Law of One. And then I read the Law of One study guide by Bob Childers. So you understand I'm, if you will, obsessed with this. So at this point, I've been talking about this and thinking about it and reading about it for so long that Jasmine and I were like, you know what? We got to talk to some more people about this epic work. So what we're going to do is we're going to read The Raw Contact, Teaching the Law of One. Can everyone see my screen here? Yes, nod your head if you can. Yeah, sweet. So this one is what you would call the lightly edited version, thanks to Toby Wheelock. He did what's called the re-listening project, which meant he spent for 8 years re-listening to the book in super painstaking detail to get as accurate as he could, a audio transcript, because he wanted to make sure that like it was really precise. And so there are certain points where you'll, as you're reading it, notice that maybe a word is in brackets, and that's because that's what they believe was the intended meaning to it. So it's very lightly edited, it has much fidelity to the original transcripts as possible. That was the whole point of it. But if you don't have any other version and you only have this, because I know, if I'm not mistaken, there's somebody that two people I think only have like, but they have all the
Stacy, and I forgot the second person, but Stacy's number one. Stacy.
Stacy. All right. Stacy said this is what she has. By all means, then just read it. You're not really going to see such a big discrepancy. Nothing really. There's just certain words that are just a few changes. Okay. That's what we would call the raw material. You get it? No one? I thought that was hilarious, but yeah, so you got the raw material, so it's great that you have that version. So just read it, okay? Whatever you have, read that version. It's what we would call a channel text. If you're wondering what is a channel text, well, this is the classification of the type of book that we're listening to. There are other channel texts. I'm positive that 100% of you have read at least one of these one channel text in your life. Let me prove it. Here are some examples. Number one, the Bhagavad Gita. I've read this, haven't read the whole thing. His Divine Grace, right? So that's a channeling. Shiva, Shakti, etc. spoke through beings to write this book. The Tao, it's another thing, another book that is channeled, which I've also read, which means, yes, the Holy Quran, Muhammad heard the word of God. The Nag Hammadi scriptures, this is the original, not this version, like the original came in a big scrolls, right? The Nag Hammadi scriptures is what the Bible and the Quran and the Torah and all that is before they ever got modified. So Yes, the Bible is a channeled work, because if the Nag Hammadi scriptures is a channeled text, then yes, the Bible is. So is the Torah, the Emerald tablets, which is considered the book of Thoth. Bashar, I don't know if you've ever heard of Bashar, but a lot of I think Marcus mentioned it. It's a channeled text, it's a channeled work. It comes from a conscious channel. I think the guy's name is Daryl Anka. Yeah, Daryl Anka. He is the channel for a being known as Bashar. Seth Jane Roberts is a conscious channel. Conscious channel. We'll talk about what that means later. For the entity known as Seth. And of course, A Course in Miracles. Who here has ever heard of A Course in Miracles? Raise your hand. Anyone? Yes? Anybody here currently reading A Course in Miracles? Oh, we got some miracle workers. I do need to place this just 1 minute for you on this. Because of A Course in Miracles, my dad and I have a relationship. I forgave him. Not only that, but we love each other deeply. We've cried, we have forgiven, and it's because I followed what A Course in Miracles says and I forgave. So if you want a text that is very much in alignment with the Confederation philosophy and the Law of One, A Course in Miracles is another channeled text. It was Helen Schuckman. She channeled the voice of Jesus Christ, aka Yehoshua. So A Course in Miracles is very much in alignment with the Law of One, but these are all conscious channeled texts, okay? None of them were made from unconscious channeling. The Law of One is, okay? It's an unconscious channeling. We'll talk about what that means in a bit, but I just want to let you know, if you are reading A Course in Miracles, it is very much in alignment with the Confederation philosophy. And it says, here's one of my favorite passages. It says, whenever you feel your confidence wane and your hope of success flicker and go out, repeat your question and your requests, remembering that you are asking of the infinite creator of infinity, who created you like himself. That's an epic line. So you're going to hear the word infinite creator. We're going to talk about what that means later, but it's in alignment. So keep reading Course in Miracles. No need to stop it at all. If you're still reading it, please do. But if you are reading it, then what I do is, since I'm reading it right now and I've already read the Law of One, I'm always reading it. I read the Course in Miracles in the morning and then 1 or 2 passages or sessions from the Law of One at night. So that's what I do. So if you're going to be reading this book, you have to know exactly who's behind all this work. And it's LNL Research. It stands for Love and Light Research. Now, this is the group that's heading LNL Research today. I have corresponded with Trisha Bean and Gary Bean, but this is the team here that is running the show right now. But back in the day, and by the way, if you're going to go to the law, anyone going to the Law of One gathering in October for Berlin or Prague? Anyone? No? Anyone? Okay, just me and Joy. Well, maybe some of you, we can convince some of you to join us, but you're going to meet them there if you do decide to go. But originally, it started with Don Elkins. Now, Don Elkins, this guy, is what you would call a genius. Have you ever heard of those people where they're super smart and intellectual? Well, he was a physics and engineering professor, but still science couldn't answer the questions that he had, the deep questions. I'm sure some of you have asked these questions. Like, is there really a God? Can you explain death and birth? Can you explain some of the things we talked about earlier? Can you explain reality? Can you talk about ghosts and the paranormal? He had questions about all this stuff. Science couldn't do it. So what he started doing is he was really interested in UFOs. And so he started basically traveling to places like Mexico, New Mexico, and and just talking to people who have been contacted by UFOs or who have seen UFOs. So he was obsessed with UFOs, all right? Obsessed. He created a research group and decided that the best way to contact positive ETs was through meditation. Now, before I tell you exactly what that was, you have to understand that there are negative extraterrestrials out there, okay? You should understand that. And there are positive ones. And we'll talk about that later. And if you still don't believe in aliens, then we're going to convince you later that they exist. Okay. But for now, understand that, nod your head if you understand that there is a dark and a light and a negative and a positive in these densities. Okay. In this plane, maybe in the ultimate, no, but right now, yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, what he noticed is that when he would talk to these people about their contact with these UFOs or these extraterrestrials, you'd get the positive one who was like all about hope and wonder and love and unity and had feelings of being wrapped in God's blanket, feelings of positivity and warmth after seeing a positive or a radiant being that they would define as an alien or a UFO. And then there was the other type of experience where the person got raped by an alien or something, where this person got, abducted, and it was negative. They had fear and doom and gloom, and they were hopeless after. So what he started doing is he started trying to figure out what was the philosophy of the positive ETs. What were some of the things that were being communicated through these contactees, like these people that were getting contacted by these aliens? What were the philosophy behind it? And that's what he cared about. So he decided to create a meditation group so that these positive ETs could talk to us and we could call them. And he found that it was really helpful to do this. And so he invited a few people. But I wanted to show you this video of Don, but I don't think you're going to be able to hear this. Let's give it a try. Let's see if you can hear this.
We
Can you hear
talked
that?
to several people who had communications from UFO sources. We have found that there are people all over the world now that have these alleged communications. We talked to several people who had communications from UFO sources, and we have found that there are people all over the world now that have these alleged communication UFO sources that match the material that we got out from the people in Mexico, correlated precisely with the material that has been communicated for the past approximately 30 years. We talked.
All right. Did everyone hear that? So this is Don Elkins. So if you're wondering, like, what is this guy? What do you do on your free time? Think about that. What do you do on your free time? This guy is literally spending his own money to go and talk to people who are, contacted by aliens. Like, he's flying all the way to Mexico and South America and Europe, Russia, to talk to people about their experience with these extraterrestrials. So he decided that, all right, this is starting to answer some of the questions that I had about God, the universe, infinity, because he had those big questions. So he invited some people to come over, and Don had Carla here as a part of the meditation group. And this woman was always gifted with sitting still in silence. She was always very still, very joyful. She radiated a love for life. And she just loved to sit in silence. She didn't really care too much for channeling. She didn't want to do it. She knew that was the whole purpose, but she showed up as a girlfriend to one of the people that were invited and said, yeah, I would love to meditate. I love sitting in silence. She would sit in silence for hours a day in nature, like a monk as a kid, even though she had a really rough childhood. And because she was always sick and ill, in and out of hospital. But anyways, she's really good at sitting in silence. So she eventually becomes the instrument that Ra will speak through. Okay. If this is blowing your mind, trust me, I'm going to explain what this means. If you don't understand how this is possible, don't worry. We're going to talk about that. But if you're wondering, when you hear the word instrument or see the word instrument in the book, what it means is Carla. Okay. Ra is speaking through Carla. Okay. Does everyone understand that? All right. So give me 1 second. I'm just going to adjust my screen here. All right. So I had this red line at the bottom for some reason, and I just wanted to get rid of that. All right. So here is Carla.
The presence, the presence of the one is in this place. I can feel its mighty power and its grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings, see joy on every face. Surely the presence of the one is in this place. The presence of the one is in this place because it is in each of you. And together, we are a lighthouse of tremendous power.
Well, I don't know about you, but every time I watch that, it gives me chills. I just wanted to show that to you so you get an idea of who she is as a person. This woman, I believe, was an angel. I couldn't say it another way. I would have loved to meet her, but unfortunately she passed. So did Dawn as well. But who did stick around is Jim. Now, Jim is what you call the scribe. So you're not really you're gonna hear his voice if you're listening to the audio on Audible. That is Jim. He's like my grandpa. I love Jim. We know each other. I know we've never met in this lifetime yet, but I know this guy. He is the scribe. He came in after hearing about Don and Carla chasing aliens and chasing UFOs. And he thought, you know what, that sounds really cool to me. So he was living on a homestead. He literally off grid. He's one of those people that like his power was solar. His water was from the well. And he just listened to radio broadcasts, shows talking about UFOs because he always found it interesting. And so here's a little bit about his story.
I heard Don and Carla on a radio broadcast from a local radio station. I was living in central Kentucky in the woods and had my little battery-powered radio turned on to WKQQ in Lexington, Kentucky. And they were having a special program on UFOs that night. And Don and Carla were talking about the topic, and they were talking about the philosophy of the UFOs, that they'd actually been in contact with them. And I thought, that's the next step for me. I need to get in touch with these people. It took about 6 or 8 months, actually. There were a number of folks who lived in the same county that I did, members of the same food co-op that I belonged to. And we'd place orders every couple of weeks and then go pick them up. And I went to pick my food up one week and was talking to them, and I was thinking, we were talking about spiritual things in general.
So yes, that is Uncle Jim, or Grandpa Jim, I'd like to call him that. He is still alive. He is the scribe. He came in last to form what's called L&L research. Okay, so if you're wondering how did this happen, what makes these people unique, they had a history, which you're going to learn all about. But in a nutshell, there were UFO researchers who started practicing channeling through meditation, and they made contact with Ra in 1981. The end. I'm just kidding. No, the story continues. Here's how it happened. In January 15th, 1981, during a teaching session, Carla channeled a voice that identified itself as Ra. Unlike her previous conscious channeling, the Ra contact required Carla to enter a deep trance, leaving her body completely unaware of the communications that followed. This process allowed Ra to use her vocal cords to respond to Don's questions. So who's the questioner? Don. Who is the instrument? Carla. And who is the scribe? The one writing things down? Jim. All right. Yes, let's go backwards for a second. All right, we have the questioner, the instrument, and the scribe. Okay, that way you know who's who when you are reading the book. Nonetheless, if you're wondering what exactly happened, it's a tuned telepathic trance. That's what it is. Pretty big word, huh? We're going to talk more about that later on because we can get into the nitty gritty now, but it requires a deep meditative state where Carla can be completely unconscious. And it followed a Q&A format, question and answer. So you're going to see questions, then you're going to see answers. And the way this works and why this works is because free will. Free will is one of the distortions of the law of one. It is very important. It's one of the first free will. So we have to respect free will. And Ra is a positive ET. Remember we talked about the negative and the positive? You remember this? Yeah? You remember that? Yeah. So he is positive. Here's the difference between negative and positive. Negative doesn't wait for your free will. It just forces you. Ra had to be called and has to be asked. So every time you see a question, or every time you see an answer, Ra can only give an answer when it is questioned to him or to them. And the reason why this was such a unique and rare channeling is because of how narrow band in the communication it was. Think about this for a second. If you have a wide net, you can catch a lot more, right? If you have a narrow band, catch a lot less, but it's very specific. Ra is of magnets billions of years more advanced than us. And so Ra is sending a narrow band communication because Ra is trying to give a very precise message. And if you're wondering what is a narrow band communication, we'll get into more detail in the first few sessions about what that is, but just understand that this is very specific. There's no way that the message was going to be muddled. It's very precise. All right. Here's how precise it is.
Hi.
Now, I should give you some context before you watch this. This is the first session. This is the first time Carla's ever gone into unconscious trance, and they had been recording it. She had one experience with members of the Confederation who channeled through her consciously, and they suggested an unconscious or trance meditation, and she went into trance, and this is the first session.
I have not spoken through this instrument before. We had to wait until she was precisely tuned as we send a narrow band vibration. We greet you in the love and in the light of our infinite.
Well, let's just be honest. That's pretty painfully slow. If we're just being honest, okay, and frank. So obviously we can read a lot faster than that, but the reason why it was so slow and so precise is because it's a narrow band communication where they didn't want any single word to be manipulated or changed. They want it to be very precise. So this gives some validity to some of the things that we're going to hear, and for you to know that this isn't just an everyday thing. All these other channel texts, a lot of conscious channeling, this is once in a lifetime. It's never happened before, and it has never happened since. It is the only unconscious channeling of this type ever. Okay, so pretty extraordinary. So I hope that the message in this resonates and that you can see the truth that is within all of us, that we are one. So any questions? Any questions before we move on to the next phase? I'm going to go ahead and let me unmute anyone. Please unmute yourself if you have any questions. I know we had technical difficulties, but any questions so far? Oh, actually, I don't like that. Who has a question? Who has a question? I like that. I like that one better. Who has a question? Hi, everyone. No one? Okay. So I was crystal clear about everything. There had to have been some, no? Okay, cool. All right. Sweet. Yes, Elaine. Hello, Elaine.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I wasn't staring at my phone. What is the what is the book? What is the exact book? I have the raw material, the 6 volume book. Is that the wrong one?
No, it's not. That is the what we call the RAW material, raw material. I'm just kidding. We don't call it that. That's a joke I made. But let's see. It is the original transcript, so it can't hurt to read that one. Oh, hi. Good to see you.
Hi, you
Yes.
too.
So that is the raw material. That is the original transcripts before without any editing. It is just there. That's how fresh it is. So it's the original. What we're reading is the what's called the lightly edited version, which is it's identical to it. It's just some words are like you're gonna see in some of them in some passages that what they're gonna insert brackets where they put Ra's intended meaning for something, and it's like there's not that many. So just
Oh,
read the raw material, go through it. You're gonna get the same gist of it, the same
perfect.
exact
Thank
message. Yep. All right. Kent, what's up, bro? Oh my God, dude, he's in North Carolina. I didn't see you there, man. I'm so sorry. I didn't put my screen big enough. All right, Eston. Eston's in what's up, bro? You have any questions? Kent?
I'm
Good to
trying
see you in
to
person.
clean up things. Yeah, I know. It's first time, I believe. Just seen a couple of pictures of you around. I guess the what's that profile picture?
Yeah.
So,
Jenna, how you doing over there? Doing good?
Good, yeah. I'm wondering about because you spoke on Carla being unconscious during the channeling,
Mhm.
and my mind goes to like, well, where did she go? You know?
Ah, this is a good question. Oh, I don't want to spoil it yet. Ah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
over it.
let's yeah. Okay, so I could just tell you. She goes to where Ra is. And they speak. Yeah. Together,
So,
face to
but like,
face.
but at the same time, Ra goes to where she is.
Huh?
But at the same time, like Ra goes to where she is, and she goes to where Ra is then.
Yeah,
But
Ra's
she's
still able to transmit through Carla, even though Ra is in the 6th density. Carla goes to 6th density where he is, or it is, and they communicate. And Ra is able to transmit that communication through Carla in the 3rd density.
why is she unconscious? You know?
Because this is the only way to communicate with such an advanced entity.
we're
With
not in the
conscious
density of knowing.
channeling, one of the things about conscious channeling that you'll find is that the message gets muddled just a little bit. There's what's called the analytical process in our brains where we start trying to figure out what the being or entity is trying to say. We have our own distortions and our own biases and opinions and perspectives and projections that manipulate and change the intended meaning. And with conscious channeling, that happens a lot. So in other words, it's not as accurate. With unconscious channeling, the only way to get such narrow band communication, such precise words, is through an unconscious channeling where the conscious mind goes to sleep and the unconscious is what's transmitting what is being said so that it's not distorted. And even then
Okay,
it's still distorted because language itself is
Mhm.
it's a hindrance if we think about it. Think about the
Mhm.
way we describe ice. The Eskimos have a million different ways to describe ice. They see it differently because they can describe it differently. And because our language is so limited, we're only getting such a small portion. So with that, I mean, if we're only getting a small portion, then we need to make sure that it's accurate at least. And so you're going to see that some of the language is a bit dense. And that's why we're here to discuss it. Because yeah, sure, it's going to eventually show you that you are one with everything. It's going to blow your mind. But there are also some parts that you're like, what in the world is a distortion? What does that even mean? What is a mind, body, spirit complex? What the heck does that mean? We're here to talk about it.
Sweet.
Okay.
Thanks for Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Sweet. Great question. All right. Let's go ahead and mute everyone. Anyone have a question? Okay, let's go ahead and mute everyone. If you have a
There
question,
was
raise your hand, please.
there was a
Oh, wait. Sorry,
hello.
what'd you say, Jess?
There's a question from J Rose Healing, which I believe is Juliana. Hi.
Mhm.
She said, "I'm wondering what training Carla needed."
She is the one who actually refined all the techniques for contact, meaning tuning the instrument and not what do you call it when you disagree against a contact, or channeling or challenging the contact. So she was the one who basically created the LNL research channeling protocol. So the training that she had was simply deep meditation. Beyond that, I mean, they've been sitting in circles for 15, 12 years at that point, just meditating, calling these beings before it happened. So just a lot of years of meditation, and then tuning the instrument, which means that she gets more into her heart. She sets things up that are make her feel comfortable, and that she challenges every single entity that comes to her. Because here's the thing, like I said, there are negative and positive. The negative, you're gonna see the negative comes up at some point in the raw contact. So how does she know to challenge this being, to tell her that it's a positive being or a negative being? And so the way that she challenged every contact, and including raw, was to say, you have to tell me that Jesus Christ is the Lord, because she was a mystical Christian. She had a very strong relationship. She wasn't Orthodox or Baptist or any of that, but she was what you would call a mystical Christian. So she felt like it was in her heart, like Christ was in her, within her. And so she cared about God and Christ and had a relationship with Christ. And so she asked every single negative and positive being, you better say Jesus Christ is Lord. And the ones who refused to say it, she didn't let them transmit. But Ra did. Ra accepted and said, of course, Jesus Christ is Lord. Yeah. So she's an OG. And you're going to find out in the raw material that she had previous experience in a previous lives with this. They have all been together before. But anyways, I digress. All right. So who is Ra? You're probably like, who is this being? Well, this being is a being, one of 6.5 million unified souls from the planet Venus. Okay. So when you're thinking, all right, Ra, what I like to think about is basically, I mean, this is the way I think. This isn't at all accurate. It's just my own interpretation, is that Ra is the evolved, what Venus, if Venus had a consciousness, that became Ra. And if you're wondering, okay, what happened on Venus? Well, these 6.5 million souls eventually evolved through the same evolutionary process that we do here on Earth, except they evolved a lot faster. And so 2.6 billion years ago, they evolved through third, which, you know, we have these 3D bodies, into the fourth, past the fifth, and into the sixth. And each being, these 6.5 million, the way that we evolved through the densities is more and more unifying together and more unifying with the creator. We're going to discuss exactly like, what does that even mean, Yusuf? What do you mean unifying? Well, think about this for a second, okay? Think about this for 1 second. Can you read minds already of your friends, your family? Even a little bit, sort of, kind of? No? All right, well, you say no, but think about the last time that you were going to call someone and they called you. Or the last time you were going to say, I was just thinking that. Hey, I remember I was just about to say that. They finish your sentences. All of you have someone in your life where you are finishing sentences of, that you are kind of sort of reading their mind, reading their emotions. You know what they're thinking at some level. That happens to me and Jazz all the time. At least when you get close to someone. And if you have a mom or a dad, then maybe them too. My mom all the time, she's like, I was just thinking of calling you, and I called her. That's slowly, we are becoming more and more empathic and psychic. Eventually, what's going to happen, us humans, is we're going to evolve to all join as a hive mind, where we're reading each other's minds and thoughts. And so words are meaningless now. And when that happens, when we're all as a unified hive mind, we are what's called a social memory complex. Ra is a social memory complex, meaning he has evolved, Ra has evolved all as one unified hive mind. They share a repository of thoughts. So think about you dropping your thoughts, your consciousness into something, and then everyone doing the same thing into like a bottle, thing of water. Joy, you know about this. And then you can all drink from that water and know everyone's thoughts at all times. That's what Ra is. It's a social memory complex from the planet Venus, basically 6.5 million unified souls. Yes, Kent, is it relevant about this? I'm hoping. Or is it about what we discussed earlier? Question?
So I get back to my mute button there. So the material talks about the planet evolving as well as the planet's inhabitants. And I don't remember reading about it, but I was curious if you knew or had heard, does the planet consciousness and the social memory complex hive mind of all the souls that were incarnate on said planet, do those merge together?
See, that's
as everything
like I
moves
said,
forward?
that's not, I'm just sharing my opinion on it. That's what I think happens. You're gonna hear.
Yeah, that's my question.
That's what I
Yeah,
think
is
happens.
it-
I think eventually we're gonna merge with the Earth, right? But it doesn't say. I've asked Gary
Right.
Bean, and he says that that's very much in alignment with what he believes too. That we just grow more and more connected with first the planet, first each other, then the planet, and then we become one with the whole solar system. Then we become one with the galaxy. But anyways, let me see if there's any questions in the chat.
Hey, buddy, I need to get
Yep.
Johan back in here, and I'm in a call right now.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute you, Kent. So it is a social memory complex from the planet Venus, 6.5 million unified souls, a sixth density being, so 2.6 billion years ahead of us, way further along their process. And yes, if you're wondering, are they the same Ra that the Egyptians talked about? Yes. In fact, they're responsible for the crystals, the tarot, the pyramids. Yes, they created the pyramids. We're going to talk about that. I know you keep hearing me say that, but don't worry. It's all the juicy details will come up in no time. Last but not least, they are of what's called the Confederation of Planets in service to the one infinite creator. So what is the Confederation of Planets? They are a group, an alliance. So confederation meaning alliance. So they join together. There is no pecking order. There is no one or above the other. It's not a government. It's an alliance. They're all unified under one purpose, unity, and the law of one. So they consist of 53 different civilizations from different planets and 500 planetary consciousness complexes, meaning a lot of other ETs joined as one hive mind. Okay. Here's our primary message. Unity, that we live in a world of unity, and that the world as we see it is an illusion. They're here to teach us that learning how to give and receive love is of primary importance in this life. Meditation is one of the best ways for you and I and all of us to find the creator that exists in all of us. That's their primary message. Can you get down with that? Cool. So when you hear the Confederation of Planets, that's who this is. 53 different civilization, 500 planetary consciousness complexes, aliens that Ra is a part of, this group that watches over our planet and other planets to make sure that, number one, our free will is not abridged, and number two, that we also ascend to the fourth density. All right. I'm getting ahead of myself. I love their philosophy. Any questions on what Ra is? Questions?
In the chat.
Check the chat. Okay. I believe the merging will happen soon. Yes. Is this the only in this universe? Ah, that's funny. Okay, so when we talk about universes, we're talking about what's considered an octave. Now this is gonna go a little too deep, but just so you know, all of creation. So before I go into this, can I get a clarification as to what you mean, Miss J Rose Healing? What's your name? Can you unmute yourself? Miss J Rose Healing.
Hi, I'm here.
Hey.
How are you?
Where are you? Oh, hello. Hey, so
Hi.
what's the question about? You said, what's this? Is this
I
only in this universe?
well, I don't know. Sometimes I get a channel message to ask. So, I guess we live in a multiverse is what I'm understanding, and that yes, it's all in different, I guess, octaves, as you would call it, kind of like a piano. So do these confederations exist with just this octave of this universe, or is
Yes.
it with other
Yes.
octaves
Nope,
of other
they're in
universes?
this octave with
Okay.
us. Yes. So one of the things we're going to talk about eventually is that all of the universe, think about how many explosions and black holes that happen all the time. How many stars explode? A lot. I don't know if you know this. It's like the heartbeat of the creator. Think about the amount of stars exploding. And so all of these stars exploding create black holes. These black holes sucks you into what? That's the mystery. And so what the law of one says is that when the black hole, the star explodes and turns into a black hole, that completes all of the densities, the octave, and so you are merging with the creator in the density of foreverness. It's the great mystery. And what the law of one says is that all of those black holes in the universe are all in the exact same octave. Isn't that freaking crazy? That literally every single universe out there is all merging with one into one. It's not in all in a different one. So when we say multiverse, what we're thinking is densities. We're going to talk about light and how much more light creates more density. But it's mind-blowing to believe that this all is merging into one. Every planet, every human being, every star is all going to eventually become one with the one infinite creator that we are. Anyways, moving on. Any other questions, by the way? No? I think I was rambling, so I'm going to move on before I go too deep. All right. So in a nutshell, Ra is an ET. Is there anyone on this call that still is a little bit skeptical about what an ET is? Okay, statistically speaking, I did the math. I asked ChatGPT, 21 people. There are 3 people, 1 to 3 people on this call that are skeptical about ETs. So this is for you, okay? So any doubters who don't believe in aliens exist, this part is for you. So if you believe aliens don't exist, then you have to ask yourself, are we alone in the universe? Are we? And if we're going to ask that question, then we first have to ask, how big is the universe? Well, the observable universe, which is the portion we can see and measure, spans approximately 93 billion light years in diameter. That's really big. And this vast expanse contains around 2 trillion galaxies, each hosting billions of stars and potentially even more planets. That's a lot of galaxies. So how long would it take to travel the diameter of the observable universe? I asked ChatGPT. I love equations. So I asked ChatGPT, how long would it take going at the fastest human-made spacecraft? So we're not talking about walking, okay? We're talking about using a very fast vehicle. 58,000 kilometers, 36,000 miles per hour. If our calculation for time is distance divided by speed, then this is the calculation. Okay, here's our distance, here's our speed. And well, this is what we get. You're wondering, what is that? What is that big number, Yusuf? That's 173 trillion years. That's how long it would take to travel the length of the observable universe. 173 trillion years. That's a lot of zeros, folks. And that's only what's observable. I know. Mind blowing. Mind blowing. But let's push this point further, because yes, that is a big freaking universe. But we are aliens to other planets. And if you don't believe there are other planets out there like Earth, well, according to NASA's Kepler Space Telescope, it identified thousands of exoplanets. And based on that data, a study estimated that our Milky Way alone could harbor as many as 6 billion Earth-like planets, which are planets that are similar in size to Earth and located within their star's habitable zone where conditions might support actual water. That's a lot of Earth-like planets just in our galaxy alone, folks. And if we combine data from Kepler and European Space Agency's Gaia mission, then there are approximately 300 million potentially habitable planets in our galaxy. That's a lot. Oh my God. But on top of that, within our Milky Way galaxy, it is estimated that there are between 100 billion and 400 billion stars, with current research suggesting that most of these stars host at least one planet, resulting in rough estimates of 1 to 10 trillion planets in our galaxy alone. What? Okay, let's push this further just a little bit before. We did say that in the observable universe contains around 2 trillion galaxies, with the number of planets within them staggering. But by doing the numbers and the number of planets in the Milky Way alone to the observable universe, scientists estimate that there could be about 20 sextillion planets. Interesting number there. It's now my new favorite number, sextillion planets. That's 22 zeros. That's a lot of zeros. And if we are in fact alone, then we are 1 out of 20 sextillion planets in the universe. I find this to be impossible. So if you do still believe that, then okay, this next part's for you still, okay? What about the ET contact and those statistics? Well, the Air Force found 12,000 plus sightings between 1947 to 1969. The UFO Reporting Center found tens of thousands, recorded tens of thousands. And in 2022 alone, there were 5,000 sightings in the US alone. And peaks as high as 8,800 in 2014. And in 2020, during what we were going through, there were 7,400 sightings for UFOs. What about abduction reports? Well, in the United States alone, it is estimated that about 3.7 million people have reported being abducted by aliens. Did you hear me? Are all these people just batshit crazy? Are they? Or is there some validity to it? There can't just be 3.7 million crazy people and all the UFO sightings. Thousands of people. So, after all that evidence, we can surmise that we are in fact not alone in this vast, massive universe that would take literally trillions of years, 173 trillion years to cross, and is filled with 20 sextillion planets. If you still don't believe in aliens now, please type the word no in the chat. Just type it. I just want to know. After all that, I need to do better work at this if you do. Type the word no if you still don't. Seriously, it's okay. I won't get offended. And I won't go down a rabbit hole, but I'll work better next time. Anyone? No one? Okay. I'm so glad. I was kind of nervous that somebody would, in fact, say no. Okay. So we can all agree that we are not alone. Yeah? Right? We are not alone. We are aliens. There are other planets out there. There are trillions of galaxies. And if that's the case, then sweet. Awesome. Because you're just like me. You know that there's more out there. We aren't alone here in this universe. And, well, we can contact positive extraterrestrials and hear their message. So that's what we're going to talk about. Rant over. Moving on. So here's the Law of One cosmology. I took this from the Teaching the Law of One. In this book, Rob brings us face to face with the same basic truth that has been reported by mystics from all quarters of the world throughout ages. The astounding realization that the one infinite creator is within us and is within everything, everywhere. In fact, the Law of One asserts that there is nothing that is not the creator. There is nothing that is outside of this understanding unity, this underlying unity. Let's read that again. In fact, the Law of One asserts that there is nothing that is not the creator. There is nothing that is outside of this underlying unity. Ra reports that the creator has made the infinite creation out of itself for the purpose of knowing and experiencing itself. This intelligent infinity, as Ra calls it, generates out of its own being the galaxies, stars, planets, entities, such as ourselves, darkness and light, love and fear, every shade of meaning and experience, every mode of thought and activity, and everything else real and imagined on every plane of existence. And it has endowed each and every seeming portion of this creation with a foundation of free will, the capacity to learn, to grow, to intend, to adapt, to make evolutionary choices, to chart a return path of experience to the creator. So when it says every seeming portion of this creation, that means the clothes you're wearing, the ground you're walking on, the person you look at in the mirror every single day, your brother, your sister, your mother, your daughter, your son, your brother, your uncle, everything is the creator. And that's what you're going to learn here. And if you still don't feel it, then that's fine. That's okay. Because this book is going to explain every question you ever had about any of this stuff. And my hope is that Jasmine and I can do a good job in facilitating and just being a catalyst here for you, and just maybe saying one thing that just clicks for you. And if that happens, then hallelujah. I literally am living my life's mission. So if this still didn't really make any sense to you, that's what the book is for, okay? So here's how Ra describes the Law of One. Excuse me, whoops. Consider, if you will, that the universe is infinite. This has yet to be proven or disproven, but we can assure you that there is no end to yourselves, your understanding, what you would call your journey of seeking, or your perceptions of the creation. That which is infinite cannot be many, for manyness is a finite concept. To have infinity, you must identify or define that infinity as unity. Otherwise, the term does not have any reference or meaning. In an infinite creator, there is only unity. You have seen simple examples of unity. You have seen the prism, which shows all colors stemming from the sunlight. This is a simplistic example of unity. In truth, there is no right or wrong. There is no polarity. For all will be, as you would say, reconciled at some point in your dance through the mind-body-spirit complex, which you amuse yourself by distorting in various ways at this time. This distortion is not, in any case, necessary. It is chosen by each of you as an alternative to understanding the complete unity of thought which binds all things. You are not speaking of similar or somewhat like entities or things. You are everything, every being, every emotion, every event, every situation. You are unity. You are infinity. You are love, light, light, love. You are. This is The law of one. Sorry, it gets me every time. Like every time. I can't read that without feeling just like, holy shit. We are all one. Every single event, everything that has ever happened, and that we're all at some point going to unify. And everything that we disagree on, and the things we hate about someone else, it's all going to be meaningless because we are all going to join. That's pretty epic to me. Okay. I might not even edit that one out. There might be times, folks, that I might tear up here reading this material, but I hope that you feel it because this is how what it's done for me. And if you get anything out of it, I hope you can feel at least my sincerity and my desire to share this. All right. All right, let's go. Here's how to read this, okay? So the Confederation almost always prefaces each session by advising seekers to consider the messages carefully and to then use their own discernment to determine what is helpful and true for oneself and leave the rest behind. So I want to invite all of you to check in with yourself and ask yourself, does this resonate? Does this work? Does this make sense? Do I like this? Do I not like this? And if you don't, reject it. Don't accept it. It's fine. You have free will. Every human does. Okay? Every being does. Please use that free will. You do not need to accept any of this. Sit with it, contemplate it, discern it. See for yourself if it resonates. And leave the rest behind. So we echo this sentiment to readers, to readers of this book, encouraging all who read Ra's words to approach them with an open yet discerning mind. We use the word true above, but remind you that you are the truth that you seek. No message, philosophy, or any combination of words can ever equal or substitute for who you are. Blessings on your journey of seeking the one infinite creator in yourself, in your friends and family, and in the world around you. Here's the note to the reader that was given in the book. And by the way, if you've already read this, heard it, went through it, listened to it, and this is like a second time that you're reading, listen to it, or a third or a fourth or a fifth, good. Good. Because it's important to still remember the foundation. And we need to build this foundation if we're going to really understand this philosophy. All right. So here we go. When Dawn and Carla and I were having these sessions with Rob back in the early 80s, we knew that we were living the best days of our lives. We knew that this work was the primary reason that we were on this earth. We could hardly believe our good luck to be involved with such extraterrestrial entities who spoke so eloquently, so precisely, and so profoundly about the nature of creation, how we all evolved through it, and the meaning of life, and how love, light, and unity are the basic building blocks of all things. Quite simply, Ra spoke the language of our hearts and our souls, and we vibrated in harmony with everything that they had to say. Over the years, we have found that there is a small community of seekers of truth who also have this powerful sympathetic resonance vibration with Ra's information. If you are one of these people, welcome to our family. And if we never meet, it's good to know that you are here. In our shared service to the one infinite creator, we are always together, no matter what the appearance of our physical realities may seem to be. We send our love and light to you and ask that you share your love and light with everyone that you meet in all present and future life experiences. Thank you, Jim, for that. So that's his note to us and the reader. And let's just think for a second. I really want to ask you, do you resonate with love, light, and unity? Is that something you resonate with? Yeah? Okay. Well, like he said, there's a small community of seekers of truth who also have this powerful sympathetic vibration with Ra's information. And if you are one of these people, welcome to our family. So if you resonate with this, welcome to our family. We are here together in unity. And if you know me, you know that I love unity. I love getting people together in a circle or in a group or something. So is everyone resonating with so far the Confederation philosophy, the note to the reader, the book? Yes. Give me a thumbs up if so. Yes. Good. And we're almost done. Here's how this is going to work, because you're probably wondering, what are we going to do, sir? Well, first, excuse me, we're going to do 4 sessions per week. Okay, 4. We talked about it. That's at least 1 session a day. And what I'd recommend doing, if you do have the time, you know that you always get this like gap of time to listen or read, then do the 4 sessions. And if you have more time, then read more sessions. Okay, or listen to more sessions. But excuse me, let me rephrase what I mean here. If you are short on time, and you need to squeeze it in there from time to time, and you have more time at a certain point, and you're like, I want to read it, then do that. If you get past 4 sessions, if you have more time, then try to read a little bit further, just in case something happens, something comes up, and you don't want to have to play catch up. Okay. So if you know me, I like goals. I like timelines, and I know that is more masculine. I apologize. Okay. Forgive me on this, but Jasmine wants the flow. But I like these deadlines and timelines. So we're going to make December 31st of 2024. We should have a call on that day, really. That's going to be the last day to get this done. So you don't have to finish it. You don't even have to read it again. I know Kent, probably, I don't know if you'll read it again, but you can just show up and read it with us. You can read it beforehand, and then read it with us on the calls. Either way, what we're going to do is we're going to read the books together on these calls. We're going to go through the passages together, but it's best that you have read or listened to it so you have some basic understanding, okay? And you are familiar with it, all right? So please read the sessions before the call. It would just support a lot more for us to have a more interesting conversation. Can you do that maybe? 4 sessions a week? Yeah? Okay. All right. Please note what you don't understand or want more information in. So let's say that you don't understand something, please don't hide it. Don't think like, oh, I don't want to sound like I don't know. The thing is I just heard something the other day, is I'm still trying to figure out the 8th dimension of Saturn thing that I read in the raw material. I'm still trying to understand that one. So there's one thing that I still don't understand yet. That's okay. Bring it to the calls. We invite questions, rebuttals, disagreements, stories, etc. Everything that you are is the creator. So please share it with us. If you don't share it with us, then we can't, the creator cannot express through you authentically. So please be authentic, share your deepest truths, questions, disagreements, rebuttals, anything that you don't know, let us know. Everything, please share you with us so that we can all share ourselves. Because when someone is vulnerable, everyone else can be vulnerable. It gives us power. There are no mistakes, none. No bad questions. If you're triggered, if I'm triggered, good. That was supposed to happen. Because all is one. And the law of one solves all. So here are our principles. First, we're going to have and honor free will. You have all the free will in the world to act as you please. So if you don't like something, reject it, push it away, or accept it. It's up to you. And in honoring free will, unconditional love, I really should have just made it unconditional love is our only principle here. But here's why. Unconditional love, when you have unconditional love, you love no matter what, who, when, where, how, why. and you give someone free will. You give them free, you let go of control when you really unconditionally love someone. So we're going to practice unconditional love in this, on these calls. Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you nod your head if you're going to do that? Yeah. Here's what that means: that you're going to have compassion, humility, kindness, love in your heart, that you're understanding, that you're listening, that you are really like trying, like active listening. That's being in service to others, which is I believe one of the tenets of unconditional love is service to others. Really, when someone's speaking, instead of like, okay, I get it, you have to walk the dog and do things, but the second someone else, like you just finished speaking, the second someone else comes on board, you go and do something. You don't really listen. But being service to others, having unconditional love means you listen too, not just when you're speaking, right? Yeah. You dig unconditional love? Free will sound good to you? Yeah. Okay. And of course, that means service to others. Just like I said, because if you have unconditional love in your heart, you want to serve and give and love. Sound good? Cool. We request for a few things. Number one, mindfulness and awareness. If you're going to ask questions, make sure it's relevant, please. I do want to hear about your pet goldfish and stuff, but sometimes it's just not going to further. It is all the law of one. Totally get it. But let's make sure that the questions are very relevant to what's being shared at that time, and that you have some awareness around the time. Okay? Sound good? I know I'm blabbing, and I promise this is not going to be how things are going to be. I just wanted to lay this foundation. We're going to be reading together. You're going to be reading the passages sometimes. I want you to feel it in your heart. Like I just cried when I read it out loud. I can't tell you the last time I read it out loud. I can't. And that's why I wanted to do this book club, because I want to read it out loud for the first time ever. I've never read it out loud like this. So I'm going to share it. But I'm not going to be talking here the whole time. And if it's your turn to talk or speak or share, just please be mindful and aware that on this plane of existence right now, time is a thing. Okay? Everyone got that? All right. And also, if you know me, I probably might trigger you. Here's why. Because I use what's called conscious language. I'm very mindful, which mindfulness will give you all the rest of these. But look, conscious language means you are very mindful of where you place your power. Your word, the word, right? It's in the Bible. God spoke it into existence, supposedly, right? The word is powerful. And in order to create a word, we have to have the right spelling. You hear that? Spelling? What's in spelling? Spell. Words have spells. They are spells. So we need to be very mindful of our language. And if we start sharing a story and start going into unconscious language, where we're declaring these things into our being, then I want all of us to hold everyone here accountable to how we're using our language. Okay? So if you start saying things like I am not tech savvy, for example, someone has said that before. I'm old. I'm going to say I am what? I am what? And that's going to make you think twice about the rest that comes past it. Okay? Conscious language, can we do that? Yes. Okay. Conscious language also means kindness, etc.
Let's also add one more thing to the conscious language, if that's
Yes.
okay. So if you notice or somebody calls out, I am what? That's what anyone can write in the text. If you hear someone say I am, and then it ends with something that isn't of service to themselves or isn't of service to the world or to the people on this call, what we can do is the opposite. So for example, if you say I am not a techie person, then try recreating it at that moment. Repeat the new creation 3 times. So I am a techie person. I love being on the computer. I know how to play with Zoom easily and compassionately. I will learn this until I am 100% sure of every step that I need to take. You just say whatever you need to say to recreate the statement. And this is something you can do in your own head throughout the day to practice before you get on this call. This is a great thing to do to master our
Please.
minds. And this is something that we will practice here.
Sorry, Jazz, do you have 2 devices?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I'm so sorry. I thought you were muted. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
You done?
it's
Sorry.
okay. For tech issues, today has been consistent. Just to let everyone know, we spent 4 hours before this call setting up for this with pictures and getting everything ready, making sure the PowerPoint was perfect, that the videos could be heard, and then we got on and then life happened. So thank
Right.
you for your consideration and love throughout these techie problems.
Well, to hear your laugh, we'll have plenty of techie problems. Okay, so conscious language, we're all in agreement there. Please limit the stories, aka ego's narrative. If you follow Aaron Apke, my friend, at all, you'll know 2 things. Number 1, he is very mindful of his language, and he tells people when they are misusing their I am power all the time. Okay, so that's one thing. And number 2, he talks about how any kind of narrative is any story is ego. Now, sometimes we need to get that out. I totally get it. But this might not be the place to talk about your dead goldfish. Or the therapy session you needed. Now, maybe it is, I believe everything is therapy, but if you're looking for something specific that's not related to what we're reading, then maybe we can talk about like you finding you a coach or a therapist after, but this isn't the exact place for that. Now, there will be a time and place for catalyst integration. What does that mean? When shit pops up in our life, we can talk about how to deal with it in a more loving and kind way. Okay? But there's a time and place for that. So let's try to limit the stories or ego's narrative. So when we ask questions about like, what did you get from hearing the service to others versus service to self? Like we can go into a story, right? But please limit it so that we don't drag it on for like ever, because some people never get to the point. Just please. Okay. I definitely want to hear you. The world, the universe wants you to express, but again, if we're using conscious language, then we're going to make sure that we're limiting all the details of the stories and the narrative. Okay. Can we all get with that? Can we get jiggy with that? Yeah. Sweet. That sounds good then. Yeah. Sweet. The end. Hey, yay. Or is it just the beginning? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, this got pretty serious. So here's a picture of a cute dog, another cute dog, another cute dog, another cute dog. Okay, that's the last one. Q&A time. Anyone have a question? All right, we lost 4 people in that last little bit. I think I went over 4 minutes. I'm so sorry. All right. Let's see. I planned about an hour to an hour and a half for that part and 30 minutes for Q&A. I'm sorry that this one went long, but I did want to, there's so much I wanted to cover. I cut out so many slides. I worked for 2 weeks on this and I was always adding, always. And at the end I was like, yeah, I'm gonna bore someone to tears if I tell every detail from this. But I hope you have a preface. I hope you were entertained somewhat. I hope that you laughed, cried a little, somewhat, but we're going to go deep in this book. And I hope that by the end of this, that again, just one person here hears something that resonates so deep within you and you realize the law of one within yourself. That would be the most epic gift for me. So I'm going to do these calls for as long as I can handle it. Jazan and I do have a question for you about times. What days, what times works best for everyone, because we want you to be here and present. And of course, we're not going to go this long hearing me. All right, I promise. If you're like Yusuf, you can be just, giving a lecture the whole time, every time. No, that's not how this is going to work. That's how this one worked. This is a book club, and I want you to engage, and I want you to learn, and I want you to grow and connect and interact. So this one was long, but in the future, they will be it'll be different. Anyways, please offer questions that you have. You can unmute yourself. Roberto, you had a question?
Can we quickly talk about the time and date? Are we gonna send out the survey? Do we want to ask them in the WhatsApp group? Like, what's the plan for the time and date?
I think she just did it. Okay, so we're gonna send you a survey. We're thinking about Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Saturdays. And the reason why is because Jaslyn works with Aaron Apke. I don't know if you know this. He works with Aaron. So we want to respect anybody who's in Aaron's program. Raise your hand if you're in Aaron's program or know of Aaron Apke. Raise your hand. Anyone? Yes. Okay. He's one of my favorite spiritual teachers. My favorite spiritual teacher. So she works with him, and there are calls that he and the community have. 40U, 40 Fellowship, if you're in it. I want to be mindful of that. And some of you also have living a course or a Course in Miracles. Anyone here in a call for a Course in Miracles? Anyone? Yeah, okay. Some of you are, okay. Yes. So we also want to be mindful of that. So these are the times that I figured out that there's no calls happening on these days. So I just hope that we can make this a thing, you know. I definitely don't want you to stop your calls, whatever you're doing. I want this to be and support everything else in your life, because this is one thing that once you learn this, you have solved life. I don't know how else to put it. You have solved, this is the greatest lesson a person can learn, in my personal opinion. So let's just throw it in there. Let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you got a lot out of it. Any questions? Please unmute yourself. Ask questions.
I've got a question, Yusuf.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Yusuf, great work today. My God, thank you. Thank you. I'm one of those that appreciates the structure and your authenticity about it, laying it out in the front. So if those that want to continue, great, and those that don't, great, whatever aligns with their intuition and energy. Thank you, Yusuf. You know, when you say, if you get this, who's the you? When you say that, who are you speaking to? When you're speaking to me, when you say, if you get this,
Yeah.
it's going to lighten up everything for you. Who is that? My ego? Is that my mind?
Yes.
Who are you speaking to? I asked Aaron that, but yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so I'm speaking to your ego because your infinite self, the God within you, the I am within you, already knows this. So I don't need to speak to that. It already knows this. The ego is the only one that is, it's the veil. The veil, once the veil gets installed, there's a cut between our conscious and unconscious mind, which we're going to talk about. That veil created the ego, the sense of separation, of forgetting everything that has happened before or could happen in the future. I am this body. I am my body. It is my one life. That's the ego. That's the one that forgot. So that's the one I need to remind. And that's the one that keeps getting in the way. So the you is just to the ego. Yeah.
Thank you very much, brother. Oof, beautiful. Love you. Thank you.
I love you, man. What a great question. I love when you ask that. You're like, ooh, the ego. Yeah, absolutely.
I've asked it many times, and that's the best answer I received up until this moment.
Really?
Thank you. But they've all served beautifully. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. That's the best one.
Big hug.
Right. Good. Thank you. Well, you've asked some pretty impressive people, so I don't know if you're just saying that because, you know, you love me, but all right.
I'm saying it because it's authentic. It's true.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. All right.
Love you. Thank you.
Bill, so got your question.
Hi. Yeah.
Hey.
My question is actually also about the ego. So when you read over the definition of the law of one, it says in there that the law, like everything is one, right? So we're talking about everything, everyone, every thought, pretty much everything in existence. And would that not include the ego?
Absolutely, it does, of course.
Right.
But here's the thing about the ego. Can I explain what the ego? Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, I'm just gonna say, because we always, whenever we refer to the ego, it's always a lot of times it's in a negative context, and like we were taught at the retreat to just ignore our ego when we didn't want to listen to it. You know, and that kind of, at that moment, that was actually one of the things that I didn't send up in question was at the retreat. I kind of feel like we need to accept our ego. We need to love our ego. If it is a part of us and we are part of God, is the ego not also God?
Yes.
And we should also love you can understand it and learn how to acknowledge it and see it and love it, it's not so hard anymore. You know, you're
Yeah.
not constantly fighting with your ego because you learn to understand why it's there and you can love it. You know, like I see the ego now as it's a reminder that I have a better choice that I can take. Because if I don't know the bad choice, I don't really appreciate the good one. I will never appreciate the good one fully and never really understand it, right? So I've gotten to that point now where I do love my ego. I love the mistakes that has led me to because they were for a reason. I needed to learn those mistakes, but I also now see and appreciate that it shows me the negative, I mean, usually the negative option of what I was gonna do, right?
Yep. So to answer your question in a nutshell, yes, absolutely. The ego is also the creator. Everything is the creator. All illusions are also the creator. Now, here's the thing. When I look at this is what Aaron tries to explain. Here's why the ego is an illusion, because it depends on something else to exist. So the ocean exists. A wave is what we call an illusion because it's not a wave. It's what we call a wave, right? But it really just is the ocean. It's a set of molecules jumbled together. It's what we call it. So when we call the ego, what the universe doesn't see ego. We see ego. We think ego because the ego is what we have identified the label for the ego. It's literally the ego has identified itself. It's created a label, which is an ego thing on itself to call it an ego. But to the one infinite creator, yes, all things are one, even illusions like the ego, because that's what it is. It's not, it's something we called an ego, but it really just it's a forgetting. We just forgot. That's it. I call it forgetting. That's what I call ego. Yes, Joy. And then Nelson.
Yeah, I do want to just quickly notice a distortion that I heard from you, Bill. You said that Aaron said that the ego needs to be ignored in the retreat. Yeah, I'm like 100,000% sure that if that's a distortion, and here's why. Because I do his emails, and he reads absolutely every email that I write. I write the email, he edits it, he tells me how I can make it better in the future. I legitimately wrote like that to ignore the ego. And he's never sent me a voice message before, but he sent me a voice message for that one to explain to me the 4 yogas and to make sure that I do the course that is completely free, complimentary, called the 4 yogas, that there's different ways, different yogic practices to accept, to love, to devote to God. And it's not about ignoring the ego. It's about becoming aware of the ego. When you actually ignore the ego, it tries to grow. Anything that we ignore, any desires, any fantasies, anything that we try to push aside, like Bill, I know your story, so you get it. It grows in capacity.
Yeah.
So it's not about ignoring. It's about becoming the creator. It's about accepting it. It's about loving it. And it's about choosing the preference that you want to go with. So 100% not ignoring the ego, accepting, loving, and choosing service to others. At the end of the day, the law of one, the book is going to guide us in making a choice. You'll learn about this soon enough. But the whole point is to decide for yourself. Do you want to be service to self or do you want to be service to others? What choice are you making at every second, every minute, every day, every week, every month, in this exact moment? So when that happens, when you decide to make that choice, then you're making the choice right there and then to decide, I choose service to others. Ego is the voice of service to self.
Well said. All right, I hope that answered your question, Villa Con. I called you Villa because I thought that sounded cool. And you let me keep calling you Villa, bro. I'm so sorry if that's not
okay.
your. I just think it sounds cool.
No, honestly, I go by all three. I've been called other like vilify, um, villainous, but obviously I'd like to say positive.
Yeah, did we answer your question?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last little bit because I was coughing, but I hope we answered your question. Everything is the creator, even illusions. I hope that answers it. Yes, Nelson. What's up?
Oh, thank you. No, the question was kind of answered in the conversations that was being had. So thank you. That's why I lowered my hand. But thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know where Eston went. Let's see. I guess he had to slip off. He left right at the half hour. Katie, Milada, Ramona, Kent, Patty. Hey, Patty. Any questions from anyone about what we're gonna cover next? I could talk forever about the law of one, so we do want to have a formal ending. Kent, yes.
So we're just gonna read 4 sessions in between, and
Yes,
then
your
read some of
homework.
that out loud and comment and such
Yes.
after we get through those on a weekly basis.
Yes. So the goal is 4 sessions per week, everyone. 4 sessions per week. Do 1 a day is what I would aim for. And if you're over, then that's fine. You could do 1 a weekday, even. I'd recommend that if you want to make it a little different. So on the weekends, you don't have to think about it if your routine changes. But let's say that you read 1 session and you have an extra 30 minutes that you're going to exercise, drive, walk the dog, whatever. Try to get more in, just in case that the days happen where your parents come over or your kids come over and you're like, oh, I didn't plan for this. I had my routine down and I can't listen or read, so that you can make up a little bit. Okay, so just read and listen to as much as you can. I work in a garden here in Ireland with Jaslyn. And so we just put our law of one in and we listen. But what I do is I listen to the same session like 20 times in one day. That's what I do. So I really want to get it. But you don't have to do that. If you have tasks, chores, things that you do, pop them in, do it, or wake up and read. Yeah. 4 sessions per week. So here's your assignment, everyone. Next week, what I want you to do is I want you to have read sessions 1 through 4. 1 through 4 by next week. We're going to send out a survey so that we can ask you what day works best for you. Just so we get an idea. Can someone, thank you, Elizabeth. I've enjoyed your scenery behind you. I've enjoyed having you here. I can tell you're in. You're in. Let's see. What was I gonna ask? Just so I get an idea, what day works best for everyone around this time? It's 12 p.m. EST, which is 5 p.m. Ireland time. I don't know what that is that's 11 a.m. CST and 10 a.m. PST. What day works best between Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for you, for all of you?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday for me.
Yeah, just put it in the chat if you can. It's much easier so we
Okay.
can track it. We want to look back later.
Definitely not Tuesday because of the red
Not
tank
Tuesday?
girls on
Oh, the red.
Tuesdays.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's Thursdays or Saturdays or the days open
Sorry.
from our tribe, different
Thursday,
tribes.
Saturday. Okay, so we have one Thursday, two.
And Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So far, Saturday works best. Okay. All right, so Saturdays. If Saturdays do turn out to be the day, then just total transparency with you. Jazz and I, sometimes we like to party. I know, we like to celebrate life. And so we love music festivals. We love music festivals. So we are going to a few in Europe because it's been on my bucket list for a long time. So if that happens, we will coordinate so that we don't miss out. My goal is to meet every single week. Okay. Let's keep it to Saturdays. It seems like that works for most people. Let's keep it to these days. But if we need to change, we can pivot a day or something. We'll work on it. All right. But of course, that's only as needed. Yes, Miss Patty. over here on your iPhone now. Yes.
Yes, I couldn't unmute myself, but can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can.
Okay, yeah. So I don't own, well, first of all, thank you for doing this. I love this class. But I don't own the book that we need to read. So which one do you recommend? Because I went on Amazon and there's different ones, so we
Oh,
could
I
be on
got
the
I
same
got an even
page.
better, even easier way. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
I'm gonna blow your
Yes.
mind. You see that thing that you're holding called iPhone?
Yes.
Yeah. You're gonna go to a website that we're gonna send. You're gonna click it.
Okay.
It's every version you can upload for free.
Yay. Okay,
You
so I
can
don't
print
have
it
to
if you
actually buy
want to,
it.
but I like it on my phone because like if I like to read first thing in the morning or listen
Mhm.
throughout the day while I'm doing mindless activities or things that are repetitive, like gardening,
Mhm.
walking the dog, working out, walking, etc. So if you
Perfect.
have this, at least if you want the actual version, I'd recommend reading it on your phone because you can also screenshot, share, highlight, share it in the WhatsApp easy from your phone. If you're on the page, you're gonna have to take a picture or write it down. It's a lot more. I find it a lot easier to have the digital versions. Jasmine and I have downloaded and uploaded. Sorry, we have uploaded the PDF and the EPUB version
Okay.
of Teaching the Law of One in the chat
Okay.
in the WhatsApp group, so I can just
Mhm.
repost that. I'm also gonna send you the other link though, just so you have it.
Perfect.
You can upload
Okay,
the
perfect.
every version. I think it has a EPUB, Mobi, PDF. Yeah, every version you can think of digitally.
Okay. Thank
So
There's
you.
even a
And
web version. So if
yeah,
you're just like, no Nook, no Kindle, you're against the system, that's totally fine. There's a web version.
thank you. It was so good to see all of you. Thank you.
thank you for being
Bye.
here, Patty. If you're excited for it, so am I. So am I. No, I'm already excited for it. All right, so I haven't heard from Ramona Milada or LP. Who's LP? Are they here? Go to defected Croatia. Oh, snap,
That's me.
defected. Is that? It sounds like trance. Is that psytrance? No. What is that? I love psytrance. Bill, he said go to. You can unmute
It's
yourself.
it's house music.
House. Oh,
House, yeah,
I love house. House is
yeah.
what's
It was
me on this.
amazing.
Yes. Defected in Croatia. You heard that, Jazz? We could actually go there because we're
Yeah.
gonna be in Italy. When is it?
It's mid-August, mid to the end of
Mid-August.
August. Yeah.
We're gonna be in Italy in mid-August, and we're going to Spain in September.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's
so that
amazing.
can work out. Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah, check it out. It was one of the best ones, honestly. It's a mixed crowd, and like the love that you feel at this festival was, I've been
Mm,
to many all over the world, and this one was like the best one, honestly. It changed my life. It was, like I said, the beginning of my conscious awakening happened there. I
wow.
still
The
recall it.
conscious awakening happened at.
Yeah.
We're going, Jazz.
It was the beginning of it. Yeah. Like it
We're going. Let me
just
look it
like
up right now.
the love in the air was just incredible. And
Yeah,
that
that's
was
why
honestly the
that's one
beginning of
thing
it
I
all.
love about festivals. It's the people. All right,
Yeah.
defected.
And
Uh,
it's big, but it's not huge. So it's a good size.
for
And
such a name,
daytime and
defected.
nighttime.
Oh, it's got water.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all
Yeah.
house.
It's
Oh,
a
this looks
beach
sick.
town, Cisno,
Huh?
and
What's the name
Croatia's
of it again,
beautiful.
Bill?
What was
It's
it called?
defected.
Defected in Croatia.
Yeah.
Looks
They have
awesome.
them all over the world. They do one in Malta, I think in October.
Nice.
They do them in England as well. Croatia was definitely amazing.
Sam Divine. So it's got soulful house. I love Sam Divine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That looks
Yeah,
up.
I heard it.
We're going. We're going. Well, hopefully, I think we could because we're gonna be in Italy, which is right next to Croatia in for a
Yeah.
month. So that would be pretty cool. I don't think Italy has any crazy epic festivals. Darcy, are you
Not sure.
leaving? We love you. Thank you for being here. Uh, who didn't get to speak at all? Let me see. Was it Ramona? LP, are you there?
Mendon, Milada,
Katie?
Ramona, Katie.
Anyone want to share something? All right, so we have 4 minutes, then we're gonna chop off. If you have one last thing to share, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me what's one thing, if only one thing, one question, one thing, one intention, one desire, one goal, aim, outcome that you'd like out of this book, out of this book club, out of learning this material. Please type that in the chat for me before we jump off. Yes, Ramona.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you to you. Thank you. Hi. So thank you. I was just in all the time. I thank you for the great, amazing work and initiative. So I'm so happy. Thank you, Villacon, for inviting me. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to continue these sessions because it's really, really amazing, and I love the books. So yeah, I mean, all the way.
I love the enthusiasm, Ramona, my sister. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Vilacon, for inviting her. Thank you, everyone who told someone, anyone about this, because the more people we have, the better, I think, because obviously we all can transcend together. But if only one gets something out of this, then we all win. All right. Let's see what people have said. What's one thing that you would like out of this? What's one outcome, desire, etc.? And Wendy said, know myself. J Rose Healing. What's your name again? I'm so sorry. What's your name? J Rose Healing. You said awakening
Juliana.
deeper. Juliana. Okay. Juliana said awakening deeper in me, the remembering of unity and law of oneness. All right. I think that's Patty said real unfortunate that we are one. Really unfortunate that we are one. I don't understand that.
Really understand that we are one.
Oh, okay. Really understand that we are one. Okay, that makes
Yes,
sense.
that's a typo.
Yeah, I hate those typos. Like, I don't want you changing my text all the time. All right. LP. Who is LP? What's your name?
Landon Pryor.
Landon! What? Dude,
That's
you've
the
been on
one,
this
brother.
call
That's
the
the
whole time?
yeah, brother. I'm here listening,
My
taking notes, paying
dude.
attention.
Didn't see you. Go figure.
Right here,
I
my
didn't
man.
see
I'll get
you.
my picture uploaded for next
Oh,
time.
okay. Dang. All right, Landon. I'm so sorry, man. Now I know if I see LP, it's Landon. He said, know myself, love myself, become the creator. Ooh, perfect time for after the retreat. And personally, it's my opinion and perspective that there is no better time than to go through the law of one than after a retreat like we went through. So congratulations. Glad to see you too, Roberto from the retreat, and so many of you, all of you. Of course, there were some other people that have not joined our group who are also at the retreat. If you happen to know one or two, tell them to join us, please. Also, we can send them this recording. They don't even need that. They can just start with us soon if you know of any. All right. Milada said better understanding of Ra's messages of oneness and unity. That's a study that we're gonna get into. And Jazz said joy. Joy said unity. It's like my favorite word. One of my favorite words. Right behind Jasmine. Roberto said to be more connected to my higher self, be more in tune with my gifts, and be able to serve from my heart. Ooh. Ooh. I like that, man. That was deep. All right. A fantastic call today. Thank you so much for doing this work. Much appreciated. Thank you for being here. You make this what it is. Without every single person on this call, it's just like I said in the last call I was on, that the one infinite creator is, you can imagine, like the largest galaxy ever. The largest galaxy, and every single person, place, thing, or being, every single thing is a part of that. And if there's any just one portion of it removed, it would not function properly, and it would not be one whole thing, one whole unified source. So every single one of us matters, and everyone on this call matters, because without you, it would not be what it is. One.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Yusuf. We love you. We love you.
All right. I
Jazz
love
fan,
you all. Thank
everyone.
you
Great
so much.
call.
Thank you. Thank you for
So
being
when
here.
it, so you'll let us know next. You'll let us know when next Saturday at 12, or you'll let us know.
We're gonna
Okay,
do the
thank
same
you.
time next week.
Okay,
Same
perfect.
time.
That's been
Okay.
confirmed. Thank you.
All right.
See you next
See you
weekend.
then.
Love you.
I love you. By the way, Jaslyn, Nelson is Jaslyn's father, just so you know. So he's joining us on this. He's reading A Course in Miracles right now, and he's also diving into this. So yeah, it's really cool to have your parents on the call. I couldn't convince neither of my parents, to be honest.
He's your parent too now.
Oh, he is my dad. Of course, that's why I call you dad. Yeah, but you know what I mean. You know, my two birth parents. I love you.
Your Earth parents.
My Earth parents. He's my spiritual dad. Yeah. All right, we're gonna end soon, but before I do, are there any further last questions? We're gonna end in unison, as always. So go ahead, pop that question. Anyone? Any questions? Really understand that we are one. Connect all the dots. Yes. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Please unmute yourself. And we're gonna say 1, 2, 3, go, like on go. So 1, 2, 3, go. The go. I'm not gonna say go. We're gonna say bye, love you, thank you, all that stuff together. Okay? Let's do it. Ready? All right.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Bye. Take
Bye.
care.
Love you so much.
Hey guys,
Bye.
take care.
Thank
Love
you.
you guys.
Bye.
Have a good
Love
week.
you all. Thank you.
Adios.
Cheers, Phil.